So great to be with you on this Zoom call. And this is an episode with a focus on the power of the mind. Sacred Segments was set up with a focus on healing and manifestation. And I have known Veronica for many, many years because we did Heal Your Life training together in San Diego, California. And before we even knew each other, we were put in a room and asked to hug for a hugging exercise for 5 minutes. And now I don't know if you've hugged anybody for 5 minutes, but that's a really, really long time. And you know, I didn't know this girl, and we became inseparable after that. It was a truly, truly bonding experience, and I think we will always remain lifelong friends. So I'm excited to have you here to talk about the power of the mind, Veronica. And also I'm really happy, Sophia, that you are to do this meditation this evening. And Jennifer, thank you so much for stepping in to Greta's shoes this evening. And we're just going to hold a moment for her in our hearts and minds, because she is traveling back to Norway as we speak. So let's just send some love to her, and just a good thought for her, that her journey may be smooth and successful and happy in every way. So let's just hold that intention for her just for a moment. So in just a second, I'm just going to hand over to Sophia, if that's okay with you, Sophia. And we're going to go into a period of meditation. And please, you know, take as much time as you need to center and prepare yourselves. Let's just all take a breath together. Thank you very much, everybody. And Sophia, over to you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do with you this evening is about a 10-minute guided visualization process. And as we're looking at the power of the mind, I thought it'd be interesting to observe a little bit of our mind and see something that is really one of our strengths and also one of our weaknesses. So you've got something to kind of chew on over the rest of the sacred segments, and hopefully something to work with later during the final segment as well. If you're not a particularly visual person, it doesn't matter with these processes, you know, any sense is okay. So if you don't see, you might feel, you might hear, you might just know. So don't get too caught up with needing to see it and getting lost. So is everyone ready to start? Just a thumbs up or... Fabulous. Okay, so I invite you to close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. And just a nice sigh to exhale. Another deep breath in. And let your body relax on the exhale. One more, really just allowing your physical body to relax. Now allowing your breathing to normalize. And as you exhale, just allow your mind to clear. Letting go of the day. Just finding yourself in the stillness of the rhythm of your breathing. Now I'd like you to simply observe your breathing. You can either focus on the air going in and out of your nose, or on the sensation of the rise and fall of your chest. Simply sitting and breathing, nothing to do or be. If you find your mind distracted, just allow the thoughts to pass like a cloud through the sky and come back to the breath. Now bring your awareness down into your heart space. Imagine you're breathing in and out from your heart, slowing your breathing slightly so that you're breathing in to a count of 4, 3, 2, 1, and out 2, 3, 4. Just keeping this count of 4. Just breathing in and out of your heart. I invite you to think of one of your greatest strengths. Try and be totally honest with yourself. What's one thing that is one of your greatest strengths? Allow yourself to feel proud, to feel grateful that you have this strength. When you have this really crystallized, breathe it in through your heart. Let it expand through your body. Pay attention to how this makes you feel physically, mentally, emotionally. And just breathing in gratitude once more for this talent, this strength of yours. And then as you exhale, just letting it go and coming back to the rhythm of your breathing. Now I'm going to ask you to call to your mind one of your weaknesses, something that you're not so proud of, something that you struggle with. Again, try and be as honest with yourself as possible. Allow yourself to breathe it in. And pay attention to how your body feels. How it makes you feel emotionally. Now be grateful for this insight, that you are aware of this weakness. Because until we're aware of something, we cannot change it. We need to accept where we are in order to move forward. So breathe this weakness in once more with gratitude. And as you exhale, just release it. Now I ask you to just pay attention to your heart and ask yourself for any word of wisdom that may come to you, having seen this strength and this weakness. And then bringing your hands together in prayer position in front of your heart. Thank yourself for working like this with honesty and integrity. Take one more deep breath and open your eyes. You may want to write down a couple of notes before you start talking. You may need a sip of water to ground you. And then everyone can just thumbs up when they're kind of back in the room and ready. Okay, thank you all so much for taking part.
Sophia, that was really beautiful. Thank you so much. And I really needed that. I don't know about anybody else. And I felt your voice was so grounding and soothing and just gorgeous. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys found something fruitful in there.
Well, I would like to share, and you know, I'm going to open it to you all if you would like to. But what came up for me particularly was the positive was communication. I've always felt, being a Gemini, that it's been one of my strengths. You know, in sometimes, not always, but mostly. And for me, the bad thing or negative thing was that I have a lot of buried rage. I have a lot of anger, you know, I've realized. And the message that I particularly got was that it was all learning and all love. even the things that don't appear as love. That was the message that I got, which was actually quite profound for me. So thank you again, Sophia. That was beautiful. Would anybody else like to share?
Well, I'll share if nobody wants to share.
Please do.
When my strength is being strong. So I've always been very strong in the things that I've gone through in my life. And my biggest weakness is I tend to self-sabotage. So, and then the main message I got was just to be patient with myself, because I am very impatient, and that leads to self-sabotage. So it's just a, it's just like a little chain, like the dog chasing its tail, So.
Isn't that interesting how we beat ourselves up, in our own mind often? How often do we really, really, truly speak to ourselves with love and kindness in our darkest times? It's quite rare, I think, and it has to be something that we learn to cultivate within ourselves, because the tendency is to scold ourselves, which kind of keeps us stuck. And we know this, right? Because if it worked, we would have already changed. So be as loving and as gentle as you can with yourself.
You know what I call it too? Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
I always say my restlessness is my ambition.
Wow. That's interesting. Say a little bit more about that, would you?
No, it's just, I think we all have goals in life and stuff, and sometimes we feel restless or upset, but in reality, it's kind of the fire that drives us to succeed.
Yes, the driving impetus. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yes, this feeling of unrest.
Yeah, so sometimes when you feel restless, instead of feeling that it's negative, you kind of have to look at it in a different way sometimes. You know what I mean?
A good friend of mine who's very spiritually minded, she said something to me which really stuck, which was from the teachings of Abraham, really. And what it was that, I've always felt that I wanted to achieve certain things in my life, and I was always doing. But often, doing becomes fruitless, and it's only in the moments when it's doing out of being inspired that it bears fruit. So the addendum that I would add to your words of wisdom would be to take action when you feel truly inspired. And sometimes the right action is do nothing and listen within. So it was really great to have that moment and that opportunity to listen within. When talking about the power of the mind, it's so crucial to understand and work with your own thoughts. And before I hand over to Veronica, I just want to open it up to the group again and ask, is there anything else that anybody would like to share about their experiences with
I would like to share. So my biggest strength is, if I consider, usually I'm a little cold person, but if I have people who I can call my people, like my friends, family, even people I just know, I'll give my heart to them. I'll be like 100% committed to them in any kind of a relationship. And this is something I think is my strength. I can be vulnerable without being worried. And this, I am really proud of it. And the weakness which I have is I don't know when to take it back. So, and sometimes it happens like, I don't know, I just keep on giving, and I don't know when I have to stop. I can stop if I don't know that person, but if I have already given my heart to them, it's difficult for me to stop be it my family, friends, flatmates, colleagues, any relationship, in any kind of situation. So a message came into my mind during the meditation is there are two things that I really have to do is I am loving myself, I respect myself, but I still have to work on it. So self-love and self-respect, very important.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's not even self-respect. It's almost like you have to learn how to set boundaries. So think of it as like your force field, you know. So there's only so much room for people to come into that force field. And then at some point you have to kind of strengthen it and say, you know what, I don't have time for anyone else but me right now.
I try doing that. I try doing this, setting up the boundaries, but then I start thinking, I don't know what the other person is thinking. They might be in some trouble. They might, I just actually feel what they might be feeling, a little pain or something. For example, a friend of mine, I have been trying to talk to him, but he's quite busy. And I'm like, okay, everybody's saying he's just ignoring you. He doesn't want to talk to you. He's being rude to you. But I somehow feel I need to give him more space, more time. He will eventually come back. But everybody's like, no, 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 he's not coming back. So I just get confused in such situations. And I don't know if I set my boundaries, am I being too rude too soon, or it's just an ego coming? So
Oh,
this is very difficult.
there was a good YouTube video. I'll have to find it, but
Mhm.
it basically talked about not always taking things personally. And you know, you're
Yeah,
like the kind of person that likes to please people and wants to be helpful and
yeah,
giving and stuff like that. But then when you're, it's almost like but that's like a two, I call it a two, it's a two-way street in the sense of you like pleasing people, but then you're also getting dopamine from pleasing people. So it's
yeah.
almost like you can become a
Agree.
drug addict to make other people happy, right?
Yeah, I
And
completely
so
agree.
so when you're not getting to make somebody happy or please them, you're like, what's wrong? What happened? What did I do? And you take it personally, right?
Yeah,
So
I
it's
completely.
yeah, I've had that problem before, you know, where I wanted to help
Mhm.
people and be like giving and giving and giving. But um yeah, boundaries is the one thing that I learned recently that's so important because we don't ever really realize, we think of it as a negative, like, oh, we're shutting people out, but it's not true. We're just giving ourselves enough oxygen to be our comfortable, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So when we do
I
give
understand.
ourselves, it doesn't deplete our oxygen.
Mhm.
That's a beautiful point, Rovan. And I recognize myself in your people pleasing, Himanshi. I did it a lot. And that word, boundaries, Rovan, is such an important one that I've had to learn the hard way and the painful way. And, you know, taking time for yourself, Himanshi, and everybody is not a selfish thing, you know, because how can you give to anyone if your cup is empty, right? It's not selfish to care for yourself
Mhm.
and to give yourself the time and the space and the love, the self-love that you need, you know, because the world is not going to give you what you need. It's you and you alone that's going to do it. So
Yeah,
really
beautiful.
glad that you brought that up. Because I think it speaks to the core of all of us. I mean, we all have this kind of people pleasing thing until we can set boundaries, which is very important. And especially, you know, spiritually minded people, they have this false or erroneous belief that we have to be a good person, and that to be a good person, that means sacrifice. And that's not always true. You know, being a good person doesn't really exist. We all have everything within us.
It's like when I've talked to people that are empathic, you know, that have a lot of empathy, I find that they suffer more greatly than other people. So they have all this love and to give and this empathetic nature, but then when they see all of these horrible things or people acting horribly, it affects them so deeply that they're miserable.
My partner calls it Helpy Helpenstein. which is quite an interesting sort of description of, you want to help so much that you actually create more problems,
Right. Yeah.
and you're doing the other person a disservice, because sometimes they have to find their own way.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they got to do the lesson and the journey to find their path and to make mistakes.
That's why I was thinking like, sometimes you have to think like, what are you getting out of it? If I'm helping people, what am I getting out of it? Is it just, does it give me happy juice in my brain? Am I addicted to that happy juice? So I'm looking for problems to solve from other people. You know what I mean? Because I've done that before where, you have your own problems to solve, but you're busy solving everyone else's.
Yeah, it's a good call. Anybody else? Would anybody else like to share?
I will.
Please.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So what came up for me for strength was, it's a little hard to put into words, but this ability that I have to sort of enter into somebody's, what's the right word? Enter into someone, because I'm an empath, and to really hone in on whatever it is that they need at that time. And something I had as a teacher and now as a healer and a spiritual teacher. So like to really be able to kind of almost like merge with the person and really just see very clearly what it is that they think or feel or need. And then, so that was the one that came up for me. And then for the negative thing, the non-judgmental negative thing, right? Was procrastination. And what came up for me around that is the word balance. And I think I have to think about what that means really for me, why that word popped in. But I think it has to do with like so many years of pushing myself and really working so hard. And it's like maybe a way of trying to take back some control over my energy. I don't know. I have to think about it. The word balance. I don't know. I'm not sure really what it meant. If anybody has any ideas, let me know.
Anna, you reminded me of the infinite organizing power of the universe, and how the thought or belief that everything that I need to know reveals itself to me. This idea of when you said like that you needed to go into somebody's mind or into their energy fields to find out what it is that you can help them with.
Well, that's not, no, that's an ability that I have.
Oh, got you. I understand. I misunderstood.
That is, no, not that I have to, but that I am able to do that.
I see.
And which is why I'm able to connect with people the way I do.
Oh, I got you.
And to help them the way that I do.
I misunderstood.
Yeah. No.
It's interesting.
So tell us more about balance, because you just brought up the word, but I don't quite know how it relates to you.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Are you overly busy?
No, not at all. But I used to be. I used to be like, I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning, commute 5 hours a day, to take care of my father, work a full-time job, come home and grade papers till 1, 2 in the morning, meditate, do my spiritual work. I was like, people were like, how are you alive?
What do you do now?
And now I'm just a full-time healer, but with a lot of, I make my own schedule, which is not necessarily a good thing for me. So, yeah.
Chakra balancing is something that we all need to do very often, particularly living in the world.
Well, I think it
energies.
Yeah, now that you say chakra, I was also thinking the rays. If you know anything about the 7 rays, I think
the colors and
maybe to balance like the first and the third.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you said that. And I'm actually, I felt like I had to wear orange today.
Interesting. The color of dynamism and will and
Yeah.
down here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Thank you, Anna. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. And again, Sophia, thank you so much for your beautiful meditation. Veronica, I'm going to hand over to you for your segment.
Okay, so it's half an hour, right? Oh, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Take any time between 15 and 25 minutes and leave a few minutes for questions or
Okay.
feedback as well. Yeah.
Okay. So can anybody hear me? Can you guys hear me well? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So a few things I'd like to clarify. Number one, I have 4 dogs. They're asleep right now. So if they hear something, they're going to, so my apologies. The second thing I'd like to add to this is usually a 2-hour workshop I give. And so I'm going to go as quickly and as thoroughly as possible. So, you know, and if anybody has any questions, just hold off until the end. But I will try to, you know, explain myself without going too slow or too fast. But these are basic rules and techniques for the law of attraction, power of the mind. I've put together this little workshop on little cheat sheet. Did everybody, you emailed it to everybody, right? Okay. Okay, so the number one thing for the basic techniques and rules of the power of the mind and law of attraction is we are responsible for all of our experiences. And that goes into stop blaming others for everything that's occurred in your life. So all of these little techniques, they're interwoven with each other. So the second one is what you believe is what you get. Basically, it's in regards to love, money, work, sex, success, failure, deservability, and God. So if you believe that money is dirty, that you'll never be successful, no one will ever love you, that is what you will get in life. Every thought we think is creating our future. So that goes to the above line, that what you believe is what you get. And so, you know, it makes better sense to believe that you are loved, that you are successful, that everybody loves you, versus everybody hates me. I can't, I'll never be successful. No one will ever love me. So it's better to think positive things and good things about yourself and your future. And then these are the big 4 that everybody deals with. They are guilt, shame, resentment, criticism, self-hatred. I'm not good enough. So everybody on this planet deals with those 4 things, the big 4. On a personal level, I deal a lot with shame, resentment, and criticism. My mother was a very critical person, so I have to deal a lot with that. We need to forgive everyone and release the past so we can move forward. Otherwise, we will remain stuck. So this is a very powerful line right here, because you can do all of your work. You can eat healthy and organic. You can say your affirmations every day. You can be a very helpful person. But if you do not forgive yourself, forgive the past, forgive your parents, forgive those who have really hurt you, your affirmations will not work. Success will be out of reach. You think you have it and poof, everything is gone. So if you take away something from what I'm telling you, is forgiveness. You must forgive those who have hurt you and forgive yourself. Otherwise, nothing will ever pan out for you. You will never get ahead. Your affirmations will not work. Even if you're eating healthy, that's not gonna help. I'm related to someone who brought me into this whole power of the mind, law of attraction. And she's very healthy. She does her affirmations. However, she's a very resentful person, and she's always got a broken leg. She's always got something going on. She has money, then she doesn't. And she's a very resentful person and toxic. So she seems like a really positive, healthy person, outgoing, but in the long run, inside, and I see it. And I also see it with myself. So on a personal level, I went through a lot in my life. And one of the first things when I started working on myself was forgiveness of those who had hurt me. And once I did that, things really started moving along. My affirmations started to work. So if you take away something, is work on forgiving yourself and forgiving those who hurt you in the past. Let's see. And that way you can move forward, because otherwise you will remain stuck. Thoughts are only thoughts, and they can be changed. One of the things, for most of you don't know, I live in Mexico. So I live in the border with California and Mexico. And people drive here horrifically. And I've lived here before. So I always have a lot of fear when driving. And so I start going in my mind and, oh my God, I'm going to crash. So I say to myself, it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. And I think about it. I'm safe. I'm loved. Anybody who wants to accept a car crash, you guys can have it. I'm not interested, and I'm good. And I'm good. I affirm for safety for myself, but I have a lot of fears. I have a lot of safety fears. So what do? I change the thought. And so you can always say it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. That's a really good affirmation when you have a fearful, when you have something fearful, or I'm going to get fired or something. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed, and you can affirm for safety. Whatever suits you in that moment, you can affirm, but it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. And self-approval and self-acceptance in the present moment are key to positive changes. Again, this ties into forgiveness as well. Approve of yourself and love of yourself, and things will start to shift. I know I struggle a lot with self-hatred and approval from my parents. I had a lot of negative ideas about myself, and I still struggle a lot, but I always notice when things aren't moving along in my life, okay, I'm not approving of myself. I'm not accepting. I'm being critical. You need to really stop yourself when you're in that space. And I love and approve of myself. I accept myself as I am. I'm perfect in every which way. So those are some things you can say to yourself. And remember, that's very key for positive changes in the now. And another one is the point of power is always in the present moment. Whatever happened in the past, it's gone. It's over and done with. You know what? This and this happened. I've always been in bad relationships. The point of power is in the present moment. It's the now. The past is gone. I like to say about the past is like, if you guys remember back in the day, the chalkboard, so you take the giant eraser and it's gone. It's over. What matters is the now and today and tomorrow, because what you're doing and thinking now in this moment is going to create your future for tomorrow, the next week, the next year. So if you've never been successful, success isn't for me. No, that's over and done with. So that's a very powerful key for the power of the mind. And learn to give yourself permission to receive all good life has to offer you. So if you remember, I was talking about self-sabotage earlier in the conversation. I tend to self-sabotage myself a lot, not giving myself permission to accept the good in this life or what life has to offer me. You have to be open because the universe gives it to you. And if you do not accept it, there's someone else out there who will accept it. Just think about it that way. Just how I don't accept car crashes and car troubles, give to someone who wants it. I do not accept that in my life. Just be willing to accept the good. You know, stop accepting all bad in your life. Change that and accept only good. That's the way I see it, and it's worked really well for me. And always do your affirmations in the present tense. For example, my healing is already in process. I now have a wonderful car that suits all my needs. Never affirm, I will have a new car, because the universe will keep you like the donkey and the carrot, always wanting, always chasing. You're almost there. You almost have it in your hands and poof, it's gone. So I now have a new wonderful car that suits all my needs. I now have a wonderful new house that suits my needs. We are being brought together. Everything is in the present moment because that's an affirmation that you've already received it. So remember that all affirmations are always in the present moment. And then something that I'd like to ask of you guys, but this is kind of for discussion and it's also your homework. And this line right here is super powerful. You know, how did you get here? You know, what thoughts and beliefs or patterns from your childhood or things that your parents made you believe or experiences brought you to where you are now? How did I get here? I remember when I started in my healing journey, I had gone through such a rough patch. And I remember, how did I get here? And I had some pretty horrible childhood experiences, some pretty negative beliefs about myself. So it made perfect sense that I was in a very low place and just could not get out of there because of what I believed. So this is something you can do, you know, when you're at home as well and you are by yourself, really think about it. How did I get here? And then you can start writing down, you know, let's say you've always failed at relationships. How did I get here? Well, maybe your parents told you you are unlovable. No one will ever love you. And you've held on to that belief. So another question is, what did you believe in the past and how did those beliefs change your reality? So again, what have you believed in the past? Money is dirty, so therefore I don't want to have money, or happiness isn't for me. Those things, or I will never be anything more than such and such, or I'm unlovable. And lastly, how will your beliefs be different tomorrow? How will you shape your tomorrow? Are your beliefs going to be nobody loves me, or I am lovable, everybody loves me? So this is, again, this is you know, very quick little cheat sheet. And if everybody wants to turn on their microphones again, and any questions you might have, I believe Alexis emailed the little cheat sheet, right?
I think that somehow it didn't go through. So Veronica, please, if you could,
I think
resend it to me.
Yeah, I saw it with the link right under the link for the Zoom.
Oh, okay. So it is
Yeah.
in the email. If you could resend it to me anyway, and I will check the email that has been sent out. And if it's not there, then I will resend it. Or if anybody wants to contact me who hasn't got it, just send me an email and I will resend the information so that you have it all.
Okay.
Yeah, so such
All right.
a wealth of information there, Veronica.
In
Yeah,
such
go-
short amount of
go
time.
ahead.
In such short amount of time.
In such a short amount of time, and we have time, so we're not done with this, and
Yeah.
it's a big subject. So I'm sure that's brought up a lot of stuff for everybody.
Yes, but any questions with anybody through what I touched on or talked about?
Yeah, I would like to ask you one question.
Mhm.
So this last point, stop making fear-based decisions. How to overcome this? Because a lot of times our decisions are based on fear. I mean, what if I do
Mhm.
this? It doesn't happen. What if I do this? It doesn't happen. So how can I change that?
Well, here's my perspective and why I put that there, because I've made a lot of mistakes in my life because I jumped the gun and made fear-based decisions. And it was all in my mind, or I was trying to be in a job or I was trying to be in a job that wasn't for me, but it was fear-based because of the income. There's no way I could support myself doing the things that I loved. And in the long run, I took the long road, being who I needed to be, because I kept making fear-based decisions. I have 2 university degrees I don't use because how am I going to get a good job to, continue living well? So in hindsight, I should have trusted what I felt about myself. Or another example I hear a lot with my clients is they stay in relationships they're not happy because I can't make it financially without my husband. I'll never be okay without my husband, or what will my family think? So it's a lot of fear-based things. And the best thing I can tell you, what do you feel? And what makes you happy? So that's an interesting one right there. But usually fear-based decisions, you also jump the gun because you're like, oh my God, we need to buy all the toilet paper. We're going to run out of toilet paper, So that's a fear-based decision, basically. So.
Did that answer it for you, Himanshu?
Yeah, but I'll give you a situation. For example,
Mhm.
This is my personal situation. So I am trying. I just recently had a breakup, and this guy, I am thinking to block him everywhere. He asked me to be remain friends, and we can see what happens in future. But I know nothing's gonna happen. So I am in this dilemma since last 2 weeks. Should I block him and disconnect with him forever, or I just move on with my life, or I should stay? I should have patience, because I am a person who doesn't have patience. I'm really stubborn. So these are my characteristics. So this is a very, I'm scared. What if I make a wrong decision? What if my decision is not right? So this is like one example recently
Why
I'm
did
having,
you
but
guys break up?
he said that I am not ready for a relationship. I am living life like a teenager, though I'm 30, but I'm living like as if I'm 18, 19, 20. So, and this is something he doesn't want in his life. And he's like, okay, you need time. I'm still studying. So once you get settled, then we can think about it. And I'm like, I don't know. Should I wait for him? Should I have the patience, or should I just cut it off and move on
Wait,
with
but
my
he
life?
wants you to
So
stop acting
these
like
are
a
like
teenager?
really, yeah, I mean, he's like, my activities, like, sometimes I really love to get drunk with my friends. Sometimes I'm acting as if I'm an Erasmus student. I mean, I don't know if you guys know the concept. Like, we are exchange students. So yeah, I'm not an exchange student, but I completely moved from one country to another country to settle myself. And it's been like 1 year and 1.5 year that I'm here in Italy. And so I'm just exploring life. I'm just seeing the world that I am in
Can I
now.
tell
So
you something? Can I tell you
Mhm.
something? Remember,
Yeah.
love and approve of yourself. You're perfect the way you are. And if he can't accept you for who you are, move on. Because he's going to try to change you, criticize you, nitpick at you. And you want to be with someone who says, yeah, let's go out and party, or let's go travel, you know?
Yeah,
I-
it sounds like he's already trying to control you.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's like
So-
testing the waters. Like, can I get her to change to do what I want? And as soon as you do that, then he's like, she'll do whatever I want now. So you're
But
just
remember-
you're just not a good match. It's not that he's a bad person or you're a bad person. You guys just aren't a good match for what you want out of life. So get what you want and block him. Block him.
Remember,
Because absence helps you move on, and you don't want to really be friends with this guy anyways. He's just going to criticize you for your life. So just move on. Next.
Yeah, this is like a fear-based decision I'm thinking of these days. So this
and
is
you're making a fear-based decision based on he might change, whereas he wants to change you, you know? So, or there are not enough men in the world, you know, there's plenty of men out there. I personally, anyone who criticizes me, doesn't accept me for me, I'm like, bye, I had enough of that. You know, remember, say that you love and approve of yourself and everybody loves you.
And
Just
this circles back to you taking things personally. You took his words personally, and it made
Right.
you feel bad about your life and your choices.
I get where you're coming from, Himanshi. You know, I too, like everyone else, suffer with really low self-esteem, you know, at times in my life. And being a performer, I'm kind of like right out there in front of people, and everybody's looking at me and everybody's judging me. And, you know, I have moments where I think, you know, I'm not ready for this. I don't want everybody to look at me and judge me. I'm feeling really insecure. But if I shift my thoughts in that moment and think, I'm beautiful and everybody loves me, even though I don't feel that that's the truth for myself, I'm creating that reality in that moment, and my energy will catch up with it. And actually what happens is that I'm creating a field where the universe and the reality is responding to me through my thought. So this guy is no good for you. It's been said, you know, yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's her decision, but you know, it just sounds like, you know, he's just a toxic person for her, you know. So
yeah, I kind of feel bad, but it's okay.
well, no, you have to see what's in your best interest without feeling bad, selfish, guilty, any of those. I think you have a lot of guilt problems, you know, but you have to think about you first, and that's not a bad thing, because that's self-love and that's self-care. You know, I don't want to be with anybody that's trying to change me, or like, I don't like this about you. Okay, bye.
That's the bottom line. You don't want somebody to change you. You just want to be yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So anybody else?
thank you.
Thank you.
I can really relate to what she's going through, because I had that same situation as well. And I didn't know what to do to myself.
Yeah, it was
Whether-
interesting what you mentioned in the comments there, DJ, about that you've been having those thoughts, and that you're feeling that nobody loves you and that you don't know what you want in the future, and, you know, blame, self-judgment, all of that stuff. You know, remember that those thoughts, like Veronica said, it's creating your future. So it's literally you're sowing those thoughts. So you can shift that. It doesn't matter that you've had those thoughts. What matters is what you think now and what you start to choose to think now. Because
About yourself, you know.
Exactly. So don't beat yourself up about it. You know, it's all good. It's all good. And you're worth loving, and you are loved. Remember that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Anybody else like to share their thoughts on some stuff that Veronica brought up? I just want to pick up on one point before I do open that up again to everyone. It reminded me of something you said about, Veronica, about how Michael Jackson and Prince, right? They had this battle between them, right? I was a big fan of Michael and a big fan of Prince. And I remember listening to Michael in an interview saying, I got to get my hit single out there because the universe is just like ready, and he'll give it, the universe will give it to Prince if I don't put out my single. So it's kind of everything we need is like out there in the field, and if you're not ready for it, somebody else will take it. I was reminded about that, what you said, Veronica.
Well, I like to use that on both ends. Like, I don't accept negativity. You give that to some other person who believes that and who wants it. Only give me the good,
Yeah, I liked what you said about the car crash.
Yeah,
I
keep myself safe, especially on Mercury retrograde. I watch all these car crashes and all this drama, and I'm finding my little bubble. So
the last time that Veronica and I spoke, because she mentioned Mercury retrograde a lot, and I had the thought to tell her that, that can be shifted too. If you're fearful about Mercury retrograde and, I'm not going to go out because there's a lack of communication, you're also putting that out into the universe. So you can create Mercury retrograde as an idea that it's actually serving you and that you always have a great Mercury retrograde. That's a thought that's valid. Anyway, please share if you want to.
Can I say something?
Please do, Anna.
Because what you were talking about, Veronica, reminded me of something that happened some years ago, many years ago, when my dad was he had Parkinson's, but he also, like, he had an accident, and then he was in the hospital with pneumonia. And my brother and my sister-in-law kept saying, "Don't touch him, don't go near him, you're going to get pneumonia, you're going to get pneumonia." And I just looked at them, I'm like, no, I'm not. Why would I get pneumonia? Like, I have no reason to have pneumonia. I have no, there's no reason for me to get pneumonia. There's no lesson that I need to learn from getting pneumonia. Why would I, like, no, I'm not going to get it. It's ridiculous. Why would you even think that? And I was the one who was like touching him and visiting him all the time. They went and visited him once, and guess who got pneumonia? Wasn't me. I just was like, no, I'm not going to have that in my experience. There's nothing I need to learn from getting pneumonia. And they were the ones, they both got pneumonia after visiting him one time. So it just, I totally hear what you said about, like,
He must have liked you better.
I think he did.
Because you were always helping him out.
Well, I was the one who I helped him transition. But it was just, my brother is a really good example of somebody who lives his life through fear-based thinking, and all of his decisions are made through fear, every single one. And so he lives a very so-called safe existence, but he's not a happy person. He's not at all a happy person. He has, like, material success and those kinds of things.
You've raised something really, really powerful in what you've said, Anna, and that is that you can vibrate in your energy field at the frequency of whatever you choose.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to vibrate at the energy of disease or virus or whatever it is that you are thinking and feeling, you can.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or
and
you
I
can vibrate
chose
differently.
not to.
That's not about blame or anything like that.
No.
That's the power of the mind, truly. Is this something that somebody wanted to say that they haven't done? Dan, would you like to share? There you go. Yeah.
You know, not a whole lot to say, but I think for me, just the fear-based decisions are based on, like, it feels like when you want to avoid something, if your decision is based on avoiding something, that seems like a fear-based decision as opposed to a love-based decision where you're attracted towards something. So if you want to move away from something, it feels more fear-based to me than being attracted towards something. That's the only thought I had.
That's a good point. Yeah, we need to be careful with that because it's a very subtle energy distinction, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, are you moving away because you're fearful about something, or are you trusting? You know, there's that belief that we can only have two vibrations, fear or love. You know, where are we? You know, energy. Something that you said, Veronica, really resonated very deeply with me about forgiveness. Something that I have a lot of a hard time with because, you know, I have a lot of anger, as I said earlier on, and, you know, there's been a lot of injustice in my life, and it's so hard to forgive sometimes when you feel that there's been injustice. And, you know, there's that idea that you always forgive for yourself and not the other person. But it's so true that you cannot manifest unless you forgive, because the power of unforgiveness keeps you in this kind of gluey, dark vibration where you're kind of stuck, right? And as soon as you let that crap go, then you are able to rise above that non-forgiveness and be in the power of joy and just be free. And your frequency is matched to whatever it is that you want to create, which is, for all of us, a better life, right? We always want a better life than what we are having right now. And to be joyful.
Yeah. Well, the young people today, like the young people, they have an expression, you're living in my mind rent free. So that's the way I see it. This person really did me wrong, hurt me, and I'm still letting them hurt me now today. They're living in my mind and in my heart rent free. Wow, that's awesome. You know, they're still hurting me.
I always love this story. Sorry to interrupt. That years ago, Oprah Winfrey told, where she said she had a problem with somebody and they had like a falling out. So she hated this person all the time. And one day she was like crossing the street and saw this person coming out of a store, very happy, very content, very pleased with themselves. And Oprah went, I am spending all my time hating this person and they're out living their amazing life, not thinking a damn about me. And I thought that was such a powerful lesson because it's so true about holding hate for other people or regrets for other people.
Yeah, they're living rent free in your mind.
Yeah.
So
very powerful. You asked a question, Veronica, about what did you believe in the past and how has it showed up for you? You know, would anybody like to address that? And you know how they've shifted from that belief to now?
Wait, what was the question?
So Veronica asked the question about what did you believe in the past, and you know, how has it shown up? Because our beliefs show up, right? So is there something that you used to believe that showed up for you, and have you shifted that belief and created a new belief and changed the thing that showed up, if that makes sense?
Kind of.
What are you doing differently than what you used to do that's working for you?
Definitely the manifestation part, especially during COVID, because I'm a musician and I make a living playing shows, and traveling and all of that stopped. And, I just remember feeling like, I don't even know what I felt. I just felt like, okay, you have to shift your perspective about your life very quickly, or you're going to drown, because you're not going to have any money coming in. You don't really want to go work out where COVID is, like it was a question mark about how contagious and all that stuff. So yeah, I just remember I really started doing a lot of that kind of visualization stuff, and especially with like what I wanted out of that year. And I was very happy when I looked back at the end of the year of COVID, the first year anyways, um, of how I got the things I wanted to happen. And that was the first time I think I really, I that crisis caused me to get really intense about it, because I'd just been seeing stuff online about visualization and vision boards and all that stuff. And I'd always just been like, okay, yeah, later, later. When COVID hit and I had nothing better to do, that's all I did.
So how would you encapsulate what it is that you are doing now that works for you? What would you say it is?
Well, I've always been goal driven or project driven. Like there's always something to go towards. I think now what I do is, talking about what I told you about boundaries, is I set up boundaries for myself where I don't take on too many things at once, because that was a huge problem for me, because I'm a multitasker, but I also multitask myself into not doing anything.
Yes, I know that problem very well.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird creative, like, creative people are like all over the place sometimes, artistically, and what we want to work on, like we're in the now when it comes to creation, but there's two sides of it. There's like the stuff that we don't know what's happening coming into our brains, and we're like making music or art or whatever. And then there's the business side of your brain that's like, thinking about, how am I going to make money? How am I going to succeed? How am I going to do these other things? So it's kind of setting boundaries of, when I'm in a creative space, just stay in that space. When I'm in a business space, be very business oriented and don't get distracted.
That makes perfect sense. And you could just say focus, and just do one thing at a time, because I get it. When you're in a creative mode, and this is to all of us, and we're all creative in one way or another. We're constantly creating. There's no time in that energy field. Everything is now. But if you want to work on something, just focus on one thing. And then when you've done that, do the next thing. That makes a lot of sense, Rowan. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? What is working for you right now? Jennifer,
Yeah.
are you there? Hey,
Hi,
how are you?
good. How are you?
Good. I'm well, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, what's working for you right now?
I also agree with that. It's like putting more on my plate and then realizing I've stacked it way too tall. So being mindful of boundaries and putting myself first. I've been taking notes as we've been going, and what amazing that the other ladies shared as well really resonated with me. Well, and everyone shared, I meant presenter wise, the ladies. And really just being honoring boundaries, and maybe that is a commitment or a priority later, but not right in this moment. and just being excited and focused on that is working for me. So that means maybe not showing up as much for others and or taking some things off of my plate, which has been, difficult in some ways, but feels good to be making that transition.
That's a powerful place to be. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, honoring yourself and creating solid boundaries seems to be the word of the evening, Rovan? You brought it up, and I like it. Thank you. Himachi, were you going to say something?
Yeah, so for me, just let me read the question again. Yeah, so in the past, I really had this belief embedded in my mind, like really in a concrete way, that I'm not beautiful. And I used to compare myself with all the girls. I used to put makeup. At the age of 12, I started putting makeup on my face because I felt I'm not beautiful. I couldn't compare myself. And then from age of 12 till the age of 30, I had this belief. And after coming to Italy, it just exaggerated, just enhanced, because I see the girls here, they have such nice bodies, everybody's maintaining themselves. And I am from India, so we have this racial discrimination. And because we were a colony of England, London, England, so we are more attracted towards white people. And being brown, I had this inferiority complex inside me. But slowly, people started to, like, I met Vishnu, I met Greta, and I met a lot of people, Alexis. So people just started to make me realize that what I'm thinking is wrong. So good people and people who trusted in me played a very important part in this. And then slowly, it's been almost 1 year now that I have been working on this, changing my belief. And today I can say, yes, I am beautiful. And these were just beliefs that were embedded in my mind. So every morning when I get up, the first thing I do is, so this is my bed and I have a mirror just next to my bed. I just see myself. The first thing in the morning I say is, this is an affirmation I have been doing since a long time, that I'm beautiful, I'm good enough, I am, there's one more thing, beautiful, good enough, and I'm worthy. So these three things I do every morning, and it has really changed my perspective about myself.
That's so beautiful. I'm so glad you shared that with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love
I love that. Very powerful. And it's true. You are.
Thank you so much.
And I've been to Italy before. They hate everyone that's not Italian.
I agree.
I went there with some Germans and they totally hated on the Germans. Like, we would go out to eat, and since they don't work on a tip base, the waiters and stuff, they would just walk up to the table and throw the plate at you. And I was like, in
No,
shock. I was like,
luckily I
what
didn't
is happening
experience
right
this.
now? Yeah.
Sophia, is there something that you would like to share about what's working for you? I don't know if you're there. If you are, maybe if you would like to share, let us know. If not, then don't worry. Okay. Anybody else? Would you like to share something, Anna, about what's working for you right now?
Yeah, I guess. What's working? I don't know how to put this. Because I live a very unconventional life, as you know. I don't have, a conventional home or a conventional job or any of those things. I don't have security the way most people envision security, or anything like that. But what works for me is, I guess, just holding this vision very clearly in my mind that I am on the right path, that I am being guided by spirit, and that I'm not making any decisions from fear, even if they might not seem logical to the average person. And that everything ultimately falls into place the way that's actually best for me, even if it's not something I can necessarily predict, or even if it's like 5 minutes before I need something to happen, I just sort of like let go and trust that everything is in divine and perfect order, and making decisions based on how it feels in my heart. Does it resonate with me in my heart? And whenever I make a decision that's coming from love, from my heart space, things work out beautifully. Not in the way necessarily that I would expect, or that anybody would expect, but I realize, later on that, oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. So yeah, making decisions that are not from fear, it's actually something that I always try to teach people. It is one of the most liberating and empowering things, but I think it requires a certain degree of cojones, courage, to be able to do that.
Trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not easy necessarily. I mean, to be honest,
We
you
have to
don't.
let go. We have to let go of all of
Yeah.
our baggage, right? To
Yeah.
get into that space.
It's a space of sort of surrender. Like, you
Yeah.
do what you need to do in the 3D world that you need to do. I mean, that's important. But sometimes there's just a point where you've done what you needed to do, and the rest of it you have to just kind of let go, because you can't control people.
No.
You cannot control people, and there's certain things that are beyond your control, like the whole lockdown in Spain here, with COVID and everything, and everything I was like starting to build up sort of fell apart, and I had to just let go and be like, it's okay that we're in lockdown. I can meditate now. I can rest. I can, So, and just keeping the focus on the benefits of the situation, the good of the situation, what it's teaching
Beautiful.
you. Because you can always learn something, at the very least. Even if a situation is quote unquote unpleasant or uncomfortable, you can learn. You can
Right.
learn from it. And yeah, so I would say that is working for me, and has been working for me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anna. It was brought to my attention when Veronica and I last spoke. Something you said, Veronica, was that you have to keep working on it. That's what you said to me last time we spoke. You have to keep doing it. It's not like you do it and then it's done. Because every day there's something that you need to work on. It's not like you're healed. It doesn't just happen and then that's it. Today, for instance, I went to lunch in a one of my favorite places. It's called Govinda's. It's a Hare Krishna restaurant, and I thought, wow, I'm going at lunchtime, and it's gonna be so busy, and I'm not gonna get a table. And then I thought, I'm gonna let go of that thought, and there's gonna be plenty of space. And it was there was at least 3 tables free. It's just silly, small things like that. Oh, I'm not going to find a parking space because it's going to be too busy. But there will be one if you just trust and visualize. Something that I do when I'm going on the train, just before the train arrives, I visualize the seat that I need. Even if it's full, there's 95% of the time a seat available. Or if there isn't one, it becomes free very quickly. Visualization is so powerful, and using the power of the mind to picture what you want and get yourself into the vibration of where you need to be is such a powerful tool, and we all have this power within us. Dan, what's working for you right now?
Well, so I'm basically retired right now, but a couple of years ago, when I was approaching retirement, I wasn't. I mean, I've always saved up some money for retirement, but I wasn't sure that I would have enough to retire well. So I I thought that I would have to supplement my retirement. So I thought, I kind of started listing things that I could do to um, supplement my income. I could do Airbnb, one of my rooms, share my, house with some other people, or I could be an Uber driver or whatever. And I actually, over a period of a couple of years, I actually increased this list to about 10 or 12 things that I could do to supplement my income. And actually, if I added it all up, I'd make more than I was making in my job. So, and I didn't, it changed my belief that I could be okay in retirement, and yet what really happened was I'm doing quite well financially, and I don't need to do any of those things. And so I think that exercise of finding little things that I could do was enough to give me confidence that I could be okay. And that changed my belief, and good things happened to me.
Wow.
And I think and none of that was like, I wasn't planning that in advance. I wasn't trying to create some magical thing. I was just trying to really come up with something that was practical that I could really do.
So are you still working now?
I go into work one day, 3 hours every other week. I'm in the process of selling the business. The general manager wants to buy the business, so that was kind of a blessing. My son works at the business. He finally decided that he does not want the business. That was a good decision to have come forward. So everything's kind of lining up. And they kind of made that decision without me back in November, or back in the fall. And I've been kind of dragging my feet on creating what they wanted. It just didn't, it wasn't that it didn't feel right. I felt like the timing wasn't quite right. I had other things in my life interfere with my thinking process. And so I was just dragging my feet and delayed things. But recently I just found some other people that I reached out, because it's a complicated process that we have to go through. And I found 2 people that are willing and able to help me go through the process of selling the business in a way that works for the 3 of us. So it's a win-win-win situation. And so hopefully within 2 months, that'll be behind me and I'll be fully retired.
What you described about your list helped you to shift your vibration from being unsure and somewhat fearful into a place of trust and surrender. And you described it so well in terms of, making that energetic shift. And it makes sense that that's working for you. There's a real deep lesson in there for us all. What business are you in, Dan?
I've been in solar energy for 45 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, my father started the business in 1974, and I joined him in 75, and my son joined me in 2001.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Would anybody like to share anything before I hand over to Jennifer for her segment? Okay. Well, thank you, Veronica, for sharing everything that you did. And I'm going to hand over to you, Jennifer, if you're happy to take over.
Okay, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Well, it was so great to be learning from each of you during this call. I'll wrap up at the end. I do a modality. I know some of you have seen it, and some of you are newer to it. So it's called subconscious release technique. And what I do, what the technique entails, is it'll just be a simple breathing technique. I'll have you take a deep breath in and hold it. We'll release a statement, and then I'll have you take a deep breath out. So in a group setting, obviously we'll just kind of do the collective of what's coming up. And again, just go at your pace. I'll give you the prompts to breathe in and out, just for the familiarity of it, but you go at whatever pace, whatever's comfortable to you. And what we start out is, you know, for instance, today it seems like decisions, boundaries, that's kind of a theme of the group. Obviously, if I'm doing a session one-to-one, I'm listening for the exact wording that you're telling me, because often, you know, we're saying things and we might not consciously be aware of them, or an area that we say that in obviously is tied to, you know, I'm saying that not only in finances, but maybe relationships. And so that's kind of the point of the technique, and really the words that we're using. And then at the end, we'll do what's called positive affirmations, positive fill-ups. And like I said, I've been kind of taking notes as we've been going of some of the themes that have came up. By all means, as I'm doing it, if there's wording tweaks that you want to make, you can feel free to do that as well. But I'll go ahead and open it up. If there's anything kind of specifically that someone wants to release, like releasing fear of outcome of a decision or implementing boundaries, or any other things like that, you're welcome to, you know, go off mute and or type it in the chat, whatever's comfortable for you. And or if we get started, sometimes as we're going along, if something else pops into your mind, you're welcome to share that as well. I'm incredibly flexible, of course. Procrastination, lack of drive, good one. Yeah, and they can be totally different themes. Like I said, if for those of you that are kind of new to this, if we get started and then you think of something, feel free to share then also. For me, when I first started, it kind of seemed simple, but I actually felt that it was very profound and at the same time grounding because of the breathing involved. So hopefully this is a nice wrap up to our segment today. And, yep. Yep, I had focused down too. Good ones. All right, so I'm glad to see we're all kind of on the same theme here. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Yep. All right, so deep breath in and hold. I release all disappointment and expectations of myself. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release all resistance with setting boundaries. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release all anger with I always feel angry. Deep breath out. And again, you can, if the emotion or some of the wording isn't exactly relevant, you're welcome to tweak that or think it. Obviously, it'll still have the same effect for you. All right, deep breath in. I release all annoyance with I keep procrastinating. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release all uncertainty and worry with why can't I focus? Deep breath out. Deep breath in and hold. I release all feelings of security with feeling safe. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release all blocks with belief, with lack of energy. Deep breath out. Good. I'll give everyone a second just in case anything, kind of popped up for you as well. It's interesting. So thank you for those of you who are sharing comments, because I noticed for me personally this week, when I let kind of my guard down, if you will, when I wasn't implementing boundaries, then my energy was drained. Then my thoughts were scattered. So actually, I think the boundaries, the energy, the anger, that a lot of that can be tied with that not trusting decisions or boundaries. So it's interesting how I think that might be kind of a collective, hopefully we're clearing on as well. Did anything else come up for anyone? Just to be sure. Oh, that's a good one. And of course, you're welcome to private message me, or even after this, if there's something that you don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing and or want to discuss further, that's fine as well. I know it's different in a group setting.
I did like the idea of releasing anger so you don't feel angry all the time. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, I noticed this week, even wording for me, it was I should have known better. I was almost disappointed and angry in myself because I dropped back on my boundaries, so maybe something like that could come up for you. When you think, I did it this way, then I kind of maybe went back to those tendencies. What comes up for you then? What emotion? So we can do the fear of forgetting, fear of judgment. Yep, judgment was another one I wrote down earlier. I think judgment of self and then others judging us too. Okay, so deep breath in and hold. I release all fear with are they judging me? Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release all blocks with harmony, with judging myself. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in. I release all blocks with worry, with what did I do wrong? Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release all blocks with receiving, with a relationship. Breath out. Deep breath in and hold. I release all blocks with receiving and trust, with being in a harmonious relationship. Deep breath out. This one kind of goes back to the very beginning. Deep breath in and hold. I release all positive and negative emotional blocks with what are my strengths. Deep breath out. Good. Good. Any other beliefs, emotions kind of come up with any of those statements? It's okay if not. I just always like to give everyone a chance to kind of process. Never achieving. As an Enneagram 3, that is the hard one. Okay. These are good ones. Thank you. Achievement. Okay, so deep breath in and hold. I release all positive and negative emotional blocks and beliefs with am I even achieving anything? Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release all disappointment and embarrassment with underachieving. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release all anxiety with not accomplishing my goals. Deep breath out. I'm sensing something around self-worth too. Deep breath in and hold. I release all blocks with receiving with I am worthy of accomplishments. Deep breath out. I'm sensing a theme of like beating ourselves up when we think we're self-sabotaging to not get to our goals, and then we're not having that feeling of accomplishment. So let's do, Alexis, are we okay on time still? You know, I can get on a roll.
Yes, we're good.
Okay. Balance. I'm seeing the word balance too. So
you have about 8 minutes just to give you
okay.
a time frame. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I just want to make sure I had time at the end for obviously the positive fill-ups. So it's almost like achieving balance and happiness while achieving our goals. And I think that was kind of alluded to earlier, right? We can burn out or we can feel off balance when we're not doing that. So, all right, deep breath in and hold. I release all dread with being out of balance. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release all frustration with negative self-talk. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I release any and all fears with not accomplishing my goals. Deep breath out. Good. How's everyone feeling? Good. Okay, sometimes I know it's a lot of breathing right at once. All right, unless anyone else has any other concerns, we can go ahead and move on to the positive affirmation side. Good. For these, again, I like to make them, believable while it's not required, like if there's one that really feels in alignment with you or feels good, you could use it, you know, kind of as a daily mantra, if you will. But I like for them to be achievable, bite-sized. Again, in the now, I'm doing this, I'm taking this action to feel good. So again, it'll just be kind of the same process. I'll have you take a deep breath in and we will say the statement. And you'll notice I start out with, I'm so happy and grateful, because we're starting that in a place of gratitude for what we are accomplishing, for what we are doing. So deep breath in and hold. I'm so happy and grateful. Every day I am growing and healing. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I'm so happy and grateful. I trust my decisions. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in. I'm so happy and grateful. All areas of my life are working out for me. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in. I'm so happy and grateful. I am honoring my boundaries. Deep breath out. And just a few more here. And again, if there's any of these that maybe like you notice in your breath, it's heavier, or your mind's still a little like, oh, I don't know if I fully believe that, you know, that's okay. That's usually where I would just kind of take notes and do more releases as well. And again, sometimes that's a tweak for each of us. I noticed even though a word feels good for me, you know, maybe you can substitute it with another word. There's a lot of power in that, obviously in itself. So let's do a few more here. And this felt good when someone said it earlier, so I'm going to repeat it again. So deep breath in. I'm so happy and grateful. So many good things are happening for me. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in. I'm so happy and grateful. I am focused and energized. Deep breath out. And one more. Deep breath in. I'm so happy and grateful. I am choosing my thoughts with love and compassion. Deep breath out. And I'm going to do one more because someone popped into my head. Sorry, I fibbed. One more. All right, deep breath in. I'm so happy and grateful. Everything is working out better than I could have even imagined. Deep breath out. Awesome. Thank you so much for participating with me, and an honor to share with you today. Thank you, Alexis.
That was so perfect. Thank you so much, Jennifer. That was beautiful. Yeah. And just the act of breathing with those beautiful positive thoughts and breathing so deeply, that rich oxygen, full breath, so powerful. Then you add the thought on top of it, magic. Thank you. And, you know, thank you, Veronica, and thank you, Sophia, for your gifts this evening, and everybody for sharing. I'm going to close this session with a question to you all, and also a kind of double statement, if you like. I had the thought yesterday of being reminded that everything I need to know is always revealed to me. And I've been working with that thought for years. And it's true, because I believe it. It's become the truth for me. Everything I need to know is always revealed to me. And the other thought that I've been working with for many, many years is everything is always working out for me. And I keep saying that everything is always working out for me. And the other great one is that when you have something contrary to what you want in your life, you can affirm that adverse appearances are my friend. You know, so even though they appear to be not helpful, that they are actually helpful in disguise. So I'm going to invite you all to share a new belief, and to also remember that the power of the mind is the gift that we have, that is our creative force that we're all imbued with. So we are creative, powerful individuals. So what new belief would you like to put out into the universe and into the world? Veronica.
Well, I think for me, self-sabotage is something that I struggle a lot. So I'm just gonna say my new belief is I release all negative beliefs and I accept all good. I'm gonna be repeating that. Or I'm gonna try to think of a word like in the opposite of self-sabotage would be, what would be the opposite of self-sabotage?
Support.
Self-support? I self-support myself?
I am supportive of myself, and the universe supports me. Go ahead, Rovan, what were you going to say?
I was going to say self-growth.
Or self-aware.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think self-support really resonated with me because I've always not felt supported at all from anybody. So I think I need to I practice self-parenting a lot, so I need to self-support myself.
I am my own wise parent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the universe and life supports me always.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Veronica. And something that you are grateful for?
Something that I'm grateful for. I'm always grateful for my beautiful home I live in. Because I absolutely love the house. I love where I live. I mean, I love that I can have all my dogs here with me. So I'm grateful for my home.
Thank you. That's beautiful. And thank you for your share this evening.
You're welcome.
It was great. Sophia, are you there? If you're not, it's all good. No worries. Well, if you watch this back, thank you so much for your beautiful meditation this evening. Dan, what new belief would you like to put out into the world?
It's actually a new perspective of a belief. I've said this before, kind of in jest, but now I'm starting to believe it. We are the universe. The universe is inside of us, and who we are is absolutely amazing. It just blows my mind. Some of the stuff that I read and I learn about myself, it's just insane. It's crazy. You know, it's like when applying quantum theory to everyday life is just mind-blowing sometimes. So
that's incredibly humbling.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Something that you're grateful for?
I too am very grateful for my house. It's very nice, and my health. I'm in great shape.
Thank you so much for sharing this evening, Dan. Good to see you. Thank you. Anna, a new belief that you would like to put into the world?
New belief that I'm able to create a thriving business, that I actually have the skills and the abilities that I need to be an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, in a way that's balanced.
You are a master manifester. And something that you're grateful for?
For the support that I have, the support and the love that's all around me from spirit, from you guys, from the people in my life.
Thank you so much, Anna. That's beautiful. Himanshi, your new belief that you would like to put out into the universe.
Yeah, the last thing which you said was exactly what I felt really resonated with, that everything is working out for me. So everything is working out for me. And this is something, it really shifted my energy vibes to a different level.
Yeah, it has such a resonance when you say it, and you say it often and over again. You know, you can never say things too much, and it gains momentum, it gains power. Everything is always working out for me, and you can shift the emphasis on each part of the different words. You can sing it, you can dance it. It feels so great. What are you grateful
Exactly.
for, Himanshi?
At this particular moment, if I have to think, I am really grateful of the universe, because no matter whatever is happening with me, I have, the universe has my back. So I'm really grateful. I have started feeling that I have universe with me since last few days. It's a very strong feeling, and really grateful for it.
Such a powerful thought that made me straighten my spine. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Himanshi. Rovan,
Yes.
your new belief that you're putting out there.
My new belief. I like the thing about kind of projecting your awareness about like your health, because for me it resonated because I had a weird stomach issue that turned into a gallbladder surgery in June. That was fun. And then I ended up having the weird stomach thing come back a week ago, which is horrible. So I thought something was solved, and it wasn't. And I think from all the stuff I've read, um, it seems to be something that I have to like self-focus on, be self-aware of. It's a weird thing when you kind of have a health thing that you've never felt before, but you know that it can heal, at least from people online. So that's kind of my new belief, is that I can control it with my mind as much as my body.
You know, in the mind-body connection, the stomach is always about processing and digesting ideas and life. So you could say, for example, I digest and process life's experiences with ease and grace.
Hmm.
And if you say that often, you know, you can introduce not only the thoughts, but also introduce the idea that everything that I eat and drink turns to health and beauty. And I process life with ease. I digest with ease. And then that assists your whole assimilation process. And so what are you grateful for?
What am I grateful for? Well, that I am still alive. Getting gallbladder surgery was like crazy. So yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate the health that I do have right now, even though I don't feel like I'm 100%. I do feel like I'm going in a forward direction, which is good.
Well, we visualize you 100%. You're a perfect machine that's operating beautifully.
Hmm.
And so it is. Thank you, Rovan.
You know, I'll leave you with something too. Like,
Please do.
there's a poem, I think it's called Desiderata. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I tend to remix things, and there were some statements in it that I thought were valid for today. And so I wrote, go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. No doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Be at peace with yourself. You are as important as the stars.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Thank you. I'm pressing send to the universe. Inspired by your t-shirt. Thank you.
Actually, it says send noodles.
Oh, okay. We'll have some of those as well afterwards as well. Great. Thank you, Rovan.
You're welcome.
Jennifer, your new belief.
In going with the theme for today, I think mine will be my boundaries are respected and understood,
I thought you were going to say
especially by
noodles.
family members.
I thought you were going to say noodles.
now I have noodles on the mind too.
Could you say it one more time, please?
Oh yes, sorry. My belief is that when I communicate my boundaries with love and compassion, they are respected and understood, especially by family members, because that is a
That's amazing. That's so powerful. Whoa, I'm just processing that. Thank you very much for sharing. Had to breathe in on that one.
and
You're grateful for?
I'm grateful for this supportive community, and I know new faces today, so I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you so much, Jennifer, and thank you, everyone. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed evening, and just love and joy to you all. Thank you for connecting on this platform, and I hope to see you again. Lots of love. Have a great one. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.